So welcome to a new English edition of my channel, The World in the Pocket. Last time I was in New York on the American continent, and today I'm in Asia, in Kazakhstan. Not me, but my guest in the city of Almaty. There I will say hello to Kirill Afanasyev. He is a partner of the consulting and accounting company Schneider Group and a brilliant skier and even a snowboarder. Welcome, Kirill.
Yes, hello, Gabby. Thanks for inviting me. Happy to be on your channel.
So a lot of people, when they will start to watch our program, they will hear or remember Kazakhstan, still thinking of Borat and his film. Was the film good for Kazakhstan or not? What would you say?
I would say that any kind of information spread about Kazakhstan is good, given that Kazakhstan is not that much known outside the continent. I mean, if you ask somebody in US or, I don't know, in South America, nobody would tell where that is. So I would say it was good. The bad thing about it was some kind of, I would say, the treatment to this film that the local people had. I mean, it was overly aggressive from my point of view. I mean, this is, if you hear a joke, you should treat it as a joke. So it was a joke. So why don't you treat it as a joke and just don't take it personally or whatever? I mean, it was just any standard country.
Yeah, and it actually wasn't filmed in Kazakhstan, wasn't it?
Well, the first part, I believe, was filmed somewhere in Romania, or at least in some other country of Eastern Europe. By the way, Kazakhstan is also a country of Eastern Europe because part of it is geographically is located in Europe. So we are usually treated as an Asian country, but we are also, for instance, in football, we are playing in UEFA, not in the Asian place. So we are also partially a European country.
Yeah, and in the Eurovision contest, I think you sing as Kazakhstan is a part as well. I don't know.
Well, I'm not that much into pop music, so I cannot tell you, to be honest.
No problem. Yeah, but the stan countries in the world, they have like a stamp, so it's very difficult sometimes to explain where they are and who they are. You are a director of consulting company, very successful, and you have offices not only in Almaty, but as I understand in Nursultan and Atyrau as well. So first of all, how can you manage to look after all these offices? They are quite far away from each other. And second question, if you have 3 offices, I guess international business is doing very well in Kazakhstan.
Well, the other offices that we're speaking about, they are not actually offices where we produce the product, which is consulting product, advices or something. These are offices that are in charge of business development in those regions where they are located. So it's not that I'm having to control the production, let's call it this way, in those cities, but I have to mostly control the business development, and then the production is being performed here in Almaty by our team of about 70 people here.
70?
Yes, 70.
Wow. So is business going even better than in Russia? What would you say?
I would say that the economy overall is doing much better than the Russian, just because Kazakhstan is out of any sanctions or conflicts or whatever. So, yeah, even though we are tightly related and our currencies, Russian ruble and Kazakhstani tenge, they are basically going everywhere together. Regardless of that, we are growing by, I would say, about 4% in terms of GDP this year, and Russia, I believe, is growing for about 2.5, something. Yeah.
Okay. So was it 2 or 3 years ago, the long-term president Nursultan Nazarbayev gave up his post and a new president got elected or was coming into place. Can you now say Kazakhstan is a democratic country?
Good question. So first of all, the president was elected. So that's no doubt that people actually voted for him. So I actually did that. So I can share that. And that's first of all. So second of all, in terms of democracy, of course, Kazakhstan is not a fully democratic country, but there are several initiatives that the new president introduced and started to work on, and basically instructed the government to work on, which are quite positive. So there's different kind of national councils where people can share their thoughts and can be represented, and the thoughts would be delivered directly to the president. So I would say we have more democracy now than 3 years ago, but I cannot say that it's a proper Western-like democracy yet.
Still a long way. And is the Nazarbayev family still behind the scene? I know the daughter of the former president is very active in media.
At some point of time, the new president have kind of asked her out of the political scene.
Okay.
So she was basically dismissed from her position in the parliament. And since then, to be honest, I heard nothing of her. But of course, the first president, Mr. Nazarbayev, is very influential. He has probably more power than the current president, but he's supposed to have more because he's in the hierarchy, he is above the current president. But the question is whether he actually interferes what the current president does or not. This is something we actually don't know. But there were several over this about 2.5 or 3.5 years with the new president. There were 2 or 3 cases when he was making certain statements that were obviously against the policy of the current president. However, I cannot say that the current president did exactly what he was told to do. So basically, there is a certain level of independence and certain level of dependence at the same time.
Yeah. Could Kazakhstan be a role model for Russia in the future?
You mean the transit of power in Russia?
Yeah.
Well, I think it was the original idea of Mr. Putin to form a joint state together with Belarus, and then to move up in the hierarchy to the position of the head of 2 states rather than head of 1 state. But the position of Mr. Lukashenko was different. He did not agree to that. But let's see. I believe next year we'll see some changes, because currently this integration of Russia and Belarus, it's on the way. I mean, it's moving faster than ever before, and probably next year we'll see the changes, which may be quite significant.
Okay, let's go back to Kazakhstan. Wasn't it the Kazakh president then who gave the initiative for the Eurasian custom union? How is this custom union now doing? Is this something you could call the Asian or Eurasian union, like the European Union?
As a Kazakhstani citizen, I would say that Kazakhstan is not benefiting from the union as much as the other countries like Belarus or Russia. So basically, I can confirm that I see more and more Russian and Belarusian, produced in Belarus products in Kazakhstan. But when I visit Russia or Belarus, I see nothing from Kazakhstan. So in these terms, I think Kazakhstan is not very much benefiting from this union. But yes, it was the idea of Mr. Nazarbayev back in early 90s to set up such a union, and it was established about 20 years later. And for now, I cannot say that it's working properly, because there were certain initiatives that were supposed to work from day one, such as, I don't know, common certification of goods or common tariffs, but this doesn't work. So They cannot get
Mm.
a certificate for something imported into Kazakhstan in Russia and be 100% sure that the certificate will qualify in Kazakhstan. So there are still a lot of exceptions and a lot of non-tariff regulations that exist.
Mhm.
And for this reason, I cannot say that it's properly working for the moment. And I don't know how many years we require to have it working properly.
Let's see, the European Union has still its problems, so early days probably. In 2017, it was then Astana, or now called Nursultan, hosted the expo and gave itself, I would say, very green. Is the country very environmentally friendly? I know Almaty in the summer is a very, very clean, green place. I never was in Astana, so how would you see it?
Well, to be honest, ecological problem in Almaty is something that is the only problem of the city, to my mind. So
okay,
the city is being heated by coal, so they still burn coal and use it as a what do you call it, as a topliva for burning. As a fuel for burning, yeah. So
yeah.
For this reason, whenever we have like the cold period of year, which is not too long in Almaty, so it's December now and it's still a plus outside. But anyway, I mean, they use coal and we have to breathe this coal. And the talks about introducing the gas or kind of attaching these plants to gas, they are for the last, I don't know, 7 or 8 years in the press and in the government. But the lobby of those who own the coal mines is so strong that conversion of the plants into gas is not happening. But we expect it in maybe 2 years, but I hear it for the last 8 years.
Okay. And in Nursultan?
In Nursultan, there's probably they still use again coal, but the winds are so strong that you don't feel the smoke, the smell. Yeah, but here we do. Yeah, that's the case.
Yeah. So Kazakhstan is making still the most money out of gas and oil internationally, with from
oil, gas, and metals. Yeah, oil, gas, and metals.
Yeah. Okay.
So number 1 producer of uranium in the world. And
that goes internationally good in business, uranium?
Yeah, well, we have Canadians who produce most of it in Kazakhstan. I mean, there are joint ventures between local state-owned companies and the Canadian companies, and they are basically doing that. So it's not that we're producing it for nothing. I mean, Canadians then taking care of this.
How is the Aralsea doing? I was in the late 19th filming on the Uzbek side, and then it was a very dull picture, I must say. Anything you know from the Kazakh side? How is doing now, the Aralsea?
I believe they've built a dam in 2005. And since then, the sea is improving. So basically, they keep the water inside Kazakhstan using this dam. And for this reason, the surface of the lake is increasing in Kazakhstan. So they can now again have the fish production there. Basically, they go fish again. And I mean, like for production, not just for the local guys. I mean, they produce some and export it. And also the climate is becoming milder because there's water. There's some clouds which originate from the surface of the water. So in Kazakhstan, it's doing okay. But in Uzbekistan, it's getting worse and worse.
Okay, yeah, I will get in contact with people in Uzbekistan soon. I think we have enough talk now about business and environment, but tourism is obviously related to environment as well. Kazakhstan comes, as I see, more and more on the map of international ski destinations. So is it a hidden gem for skiers? You are a skier as well.
I am a skier. I've been skiing in North America, in Europe, and
Okay, but not in Kazakhstan.
no, of course I did. I started in Kazakhstan because I was born here, and
Yeah.
took my first lessons back in early 90s or late 80s together with my father, but with my father as my teacher. And we do have a number of ski resorts, but if you compare them to anything of the level of Atyrau Valley or Whistler Blackcomb, it's nothing. I mean, it's just very, 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 very scarce in terms of tracks there. Yeah, and I would say the best ski resort in Central Asia. I mean, in ex-Central Asia, how we call it. I mean, the countries of ex-Soviet Union. It's located not in Kazakhstan. It's located in Kyrgyzstan. So it's a 5 hours drive from Almaty to Kyrgyzstan. On the shores of the lake Issyk-Kul, there's a small town Karakol, and the ski resort there is the best one in the region.
Okay, I was there only in the summer. But is the state like investing in tourism, looking into this option? I mean, Uzbekistan is very into tourism.
Well, Uzbekistan is very different from Kazakhstan from cultural point of view. Kazakhstani people, I mean, Kazakhs, they are originally nomads. They did not build that much of cities, and they didn't actually build something. I mean, there's not too much of the historical legacy left because of that. Uzbeks, they were building cities and living in those cities. That's why they've got these ancient cities like Bukhara or Samarkand. A lot of things to see there. In Kazakhstan, we only have nature. So we have to focus on natural wonders that we have. I mean, we have probably the second biggest, the second largest canyon on Earth, which is about 3 hours drive from Almaty, and it's beautiful. That should be the point of attraction, not the architecture of Almaty, which is only 150 years old. Also the ski resorts here around Almaty, we've got maybe 3 or 5 of them, and any of those is not interesting. But if you come to Almaty and every day you try a new one, that could be interesting. And, also Medeo and the mountains. I mean, mountains is always attractive. They are always beautiful everywhere.
Yes. Can a tourist come without visa or just an e-visa? How is it now going?
Oh, currently it's a big problem because before the pandemic, we used to have a list of about 65 countries. I mean, developed countries mostly, citizens of which did not require a visa for a touristic visit for about 30 days. Since the pandemic, this was cancelled. I mean, this approach was cancelled, and now and now again, the citizens of Germany, like my colleagues, they require a visa again. And of course, that is creating barriers, and people would always opt to go to a similar country like Uzbekistan or Kyrgyzstan, where you don't need a visa, rather than going to Kazakhstan, where you need a visa.
And it's for business as well?
Yeah, I believe so, because you still need a visa.
Yeah. How was Kazakhstan doing so far during the pandemic? I haven't heard anything negative, so I suggest it wasn't so bad, or isn't so bad. Well,
I cannot say I've seen the real statistics, because I can hardly believe that that was officially published. At the same time, I can say there was a period of time when I had about 15 people who got sick at the same time. Now, at this moment of time, I know nobody who is sick.
In your office?
In the office, among my friends, relatives, neighbors, whatever. I know nobody who is actually being sick now. And so the statistics is not that bad. And also the efforts of the government to vaccinate people, they were very much advanced. So there was like lotteries with cars and things like that, which were motivating people to get vaccinated.
And you got vaccinated with the Russian vaccine?
We have a very limited choice at the moment. We only have Russian and Chinese vaccines, but there are talks and also the announcement by the government, by the Ministry of Healthcare, that we will have Pfizer in the country, but we'll have to pay for it. We currently already have it, but it's only for those pregnant or teenagers. But for the others, it's going to be not for free, but available starting from January, I believe.
Not really fair, but okay.
Well, I was vaccinated with Sputnik. I did not get sick, so my family, I mean, members, they were vaccinated. Nobody got sick. Okay. So why would I blame? Yeah, the only problem is that I cannot use this passport of vaccination even to enter Russia, where the vaccine was produced, let alone other countries. Not even to Russia. I have to do the PCR test for that.
That's bizarre.
That's the way it works. Unfortunately, Russia selling us this vaccine, they are not accepting it for whatever reason.
Okay. That doesn't make any sense for me, but yeah, you should accept it. You can't do anything against it. Something very different, but I must ask because I'm a massive fan and have massive interest in space. Not that I want to go into space, but Baikonur is in Kazakhstan, but it is Russian territorial, as I know. Is it possible for you as Kazakh citizen to visit it? Could you go on a trip there or book a trip and see a start of a rocket?
Yeah, which I actually did a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago. Yeah, I was there. It's really a closed city, so you enter there through the, I don't know what you call it in English, but it's in Russian, it's blockpost. So you have to, your documents are checked and you cannot just simply drive in there. So everything is being sold there for rubles. The number plates on cars are Russian, and everything is very much controlled by Russian special forces, I would say. And so this city only exists because of Russia using the cosmodrome for that, for their purposes. Yes. And to enter there, you need to submit documents not to any authority here in Kazakhstan, but to Moscow. I believe FSB, Federal Service of
Secret Service, yes.
Security, they are reviewing your documents and then saying whether you're allowed or not. And there are also special tours that you can buy. So you come there in the early morning, you see the cosmonauts leaving the quarantine, which they have to stay at for about 2 weeks before the flight. Then you see how they get dressed. Later on, you see how they get dressed into this, I don't know, suits or whatever you call it, space suits. Yeah. And then you see them transported to the rockets, and then you see how they fly.
Good.
And between these events, you can visit the museums. Yeah.
Cool. So were you there when a Kazakh cosmonaut was starting, or?
I believe it was an American guy, and actually this flight was stopped and they fell. It was nobody got injured. It's just the automatic systems, they detected something was going wrong, and they just detached them from the ship. And even before we left from the place where they started their flight back to Baikonur, they were already in Karaganda, safe and feeling well. So it was interesting that we saw how it happens and what happens when something goes wrong.
Okay. And are these tours very expensive?
I cannot say because I was invited.
Oh.
I was there for free.
Lucky. I will come back to you because I really want to go there. I heard from friends who said it is amazing to be there. Okay, Kirill, it was really a pleasure to talk to you, and hopefully we will see us soon. I must come to Kazakhstan again. It's a long time I haven't been there. but our travel lists are now very, very long. So we will see when it will be. I wish you all the best for your family, obviously for your business, for your colleagues, and have a nice, happy New Year, and then see you soon.
Yeah, thanks, Gabby. Hope to see you soon in Kazakhstan, or at least somewhere else. Maybe in London, why not?
Or maybe in Moscow, that could be as well. Or in Baikonur, that would be the best.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but we have to take the night lounge because it's much more beautiful than the day. Yeah.
Okay. Good. We will work on it.
Yeah. Good. Thanks, and yeah. Ciao.